Connective tissues support, bind, and connect, as their name suggests. Many also serve protective functions as well. We'll see that the connective tissues are very specialized. For example, blood is a connective tissue that functions to transport nutrients and fluids, but also carry away waste. Others, such as adipose tissue, function in storage of lipids for energy, but also these stored lipids can provide protection to deeper tissues. In a moment, we'll examine the variety of connective tissues, and while it may be difficult to see how they are all similar, they happen to have a common embryonic origin. All of the body's connective tissues arise from the same embryonic connective tissue called mesenchyme. Connective tissues are composed of cells and extracellular matrix, which is also called ground substance. Extracellular matrix is composed of fluid and gel-like substances, and its contents usually vary depending on the connective tissue. Typically, there's also protein fibers that are suspended within the extracellular matrix. There are 11 connective tissues in total in the body. We will begin with dense regular connective tissue. The extracellular matrix of this tissue is composed primarily of collagen protein fibers. Collagen fibers resist stretching, making this a connective tissue that functions much like a rope. The fibers are arranged parallel to one another within the tissue, and typically this is a tissue that composes things like tendons and ligaments. Dense irregular connective tissue also contains abundant collagen fibers in its extracellular matrix, except these ones are randomly arranged within the tissue. This makes it a good tissue to resist stretching from many directions if it were pulled on. And so for that reason, we see this tissue found in the dermis of the skin and also forming thin sheets that coat each of the bones. And it's these thin sheets that tendons and ligaments will generally anchor to, in addition to providing anchorage for blood vessels and nerves and things like that. Next, we have elastic connective tissue, which contains protein fibers called elastic fibers or elastin. The elastic fibers recoil after being stretched out. And this tissue is found in the walls of large arteries, which stretch after the heart pumps blood into them, and then they recoil to push the blood further through those arteries when the heart relaxes. And what this does is it helps to supplement the pumping action of the heart. Areolar connective tissue contains both collagen and elastic fibers, and it usually has very dense capillary beds within it as well. This tissue is typically found underneath most epithelial tissues, in addition to forming a thin wrapping around many organs. Recall that epithelial tissues do not have blood vessels, so the capillaries that are found in this tissue function to nourish the epithelial tissues that are above them. Reticular connective tissue contains collagen fibers that support the cells of organs like the liver and the spleen. Adipose tissue contains many round cells that are packed with lipids. These lipids can serve one of two functions. The first is that they can be metabolized to make ATP energy, and the second function is that those lipids provide a protective layer and cushioning for organs that are found underneath the adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is abundant in the deep layers of the dermis of the skin, functioning as a lipid storage site so that those lipids can be metabolized for energy when needed, and it also insulates the body against heat loss through the skin. In addition, it physically protects several organs such as the heart, the kidneys, and the eyes, as adipose tissue is found surrounding all three of those structures. Bone tissue consists of an extracellular matrix that is composed of calcium minerals, collagen fibers, and blood vessels. The cells of bone tissue are referred to as osteocytes, and bones function in support of the body in addition to protecting delicate organs. Blood is a connective tissue in which the extracellular matrix, which is called plasma, is mostly water. It does contain some dissolved protein fibers and nutrients. Blood cells called erythrocytes are the red blood cells and function to carry oxygen, while leukocytes are the cells of the immune system involved in defending the body against bacteria, viruses, cancers, and parasites. Platelets are cell fragments that are involved in forming blood clots. The last of the connective tissues that we're going to examine are the cartilages. The cartilages possess an extracellular matrix that's composed of a glycoprotein called chondroitin, which functions to trap water and has the properties of a rubbery gel-like material. Typically, cartilages have very few blood vessels, meaning that they are slow to grow and slow to heal if they become injured or damaged. Suspended within the extracellular matrix are the cartilage cells called chondrocytes. There are 3 types of cartilages within the body. We have hyaline cartilage, which possesses an extracellular matrix that has collagen fibers in it. This cartilage composes most of the embryonic skeleton. As we mature, most of the skeleton is replaced with bone tissue. We find that hyaline cartilage remains to form parts of the rib cage, forms the external nose, and in addition, it covers and protects many bones at the joints. Just like the skeleton, it is a cartilage that provides structure, support, and protection. Fibrocartilage also possesses an extracellular matrix that contains collagen. It forms discs between the bones of the vertebral column, which are called the intervertebral discs, and the discs between the bones of the knee joint called the menisci. In both locations, it functions as cushioning because it resists compression and the weight-bearing forces that are placed on it. Finally, we have elastic cartilage, which has an extracellular matrix that contains elastic fibers or elastin fibers. This cartilage composes the external ear and the epiglottis. The epiglottis is a structure that closes the entrance to the larynx when swallowing. In both locations, it functions as soft, flexible support because we don't see that elastic cartilage is sturdy enough to bear body weight or carry body weight.